Focus on Davante Adams, Jason, and maybe what we just heard, what we saw last night, really what we've seen for the last couple weeks. And I mean, he said so much really in the last 9 months of our lives. Yeah, well, you remember they had won 2 straight, and he came out and said he hadn't really gotten any production. It was just like, hey, I'm all for winning, but we're not going to be able to continue to win games playing this way. And I think he knows his ability. He knows what he can do for the team. When you hear how frustrated he is, when you see him slamming his helmet on the sideline, that's a veteran who's on a team that realizes, we're not really going anywhere or any direction. And you got to understand it. Davante Adams last night, and I know he had a drop. He had 1 catch for 11 yards. On top of that, Jacoby Myers, a guy who's been productive for them, he had 1 catch on 1 target. Right now for the Raiders, it's just bleak. They haven't scored 20 points at all this season, and you're talking about a team that has Davante Adams. And I saw he came out and he said if he wouldn't have came, if he didn't know Derek Carr was there, but then last year Carr struggled, so then he was okay with Carr leaving. So there's a lot going on with the Raiders right now. There were rumors that they had players' meetings last week. They were talking to the coaching staff about different changes. Josh Jacobs just came out and said it's not my job to fix the offense. It's just very, very sour right now. And if you're a guy like Davante Adams, who is older but still one of the best players in the NFL, you want to win. You want to go out there and find a way to compete for a championship, and that's not in Vegas right now. So for him, on top of not winning, you're not even productive and you're not getting the targets or the plays that you want. So I know they don't want to trade him, but it's like at the same time, if you have a veteran who's unhappy, who's voicing that publicly and privately, what is that doing for your team?
Yeah, at some point it becomes stubborn where you're like, well, no, he's not tradable. He's our asset. But if he's not happy and he's slamming his helmet down and he's swearing on television and he's in the locker room saying, I don't want to say anything because the media is going to take it. Well, you've already said something by saying you don't want to say something because the media is going to take it.
It's ironic, right?
By addressing that, you are saying something.
That's what you do when you don't want to be there. You let it be known.
He's letting it be known. And look, there's a story that he was never happier than being with Derek Carr last year. And they're going to ride on this magic carpet ride. Well, Carr didn't play well last year, and the coaching staff gave up on Derek Carr about 12 weeks into the season, and they shipped him off the first second they could, and they put Jared Stidham in. So it's like there must have been some sort of conversation when they gave a haul to Davante Adams that we'll see how it goes with Derek Carr. I wonder if he's sour over that decision, and he comes into this season being like, I love being in Vegas. I didn't sign up for Jimmy Garoppolo. You guys, I inherited Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'm watching this last night. He also had drops. This one is not his fault. That was a short pass, and Kirby Joseph picks it off. But he had several drops in last night's game. He had a drop from Hoyer last week that could have been a touchdown. So it's not like he's lighting it up himself either. This isn't just on Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders. But then you go back to the Raiders coaching staff. What are we doing? You have a whole week to build an offense. That was the drop. You have a whole week to build an offense. How do you not focus on getting Davante Adams the ball and try to get him some things that he can get going here? It's a complete malfunction from the top down. So can you trade him? I'll give you one team that I think makes a lot of sense. It's a team that they used to view as rivals because they were across the bay. 49ers, go get Davante Adams. 49ers are in a tailspin right now. 49ers have Deebo Samuel injured. 49ers can't get the offense going. 49ers are struggling. 49ers, if I'm talking to John Lynch and I know that there have been phone calls being made on trade deadline day, make a call. See if we can get Davante Adams. It might cost a first-round pick. I don't think it's going to cost multiple first-round picks, not at his age and his salary. I would say Niners offer a first, and if the Raiders say no, okay, we tried. I don't know. Niners to me, and that's not from any inside information. I know I've played multiple roles on this show. That's just me watching the NFL. Niners in a tailspin, Raiders in a tailspin. Niners still don't have that game-breaking all-around. They've got Deebo, they've got Ayuk, they've got guys, but imagine they added this dude, they could compete with the Eagles and they compete with anybody else in the NFC.
They think it's Ayuk. He's supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be that Davante.
Solid.
He's solid, I know. Would that change anything for Davante? They're not winning either. Is he going to catch 7 or 8 balls in that offense a game? I don't know. Maybe he'll be back on a winner, allegedly, but they haven't won in a month either.
Right.
I'm fascinated by it, Peter. I always like a trade suggestion.
I just threw it out
there. But the potential
is
is there for the 49ers a lot more than it is for the Raiders and for Davante.
Yeah, sure. Listen.
He's not getting a ton of Brock Purdy's not throwing the ball all around a lot, though. It's not like...
No, yeah, he's not going to Buffalo. You know what I mean? It's not like that. He's not going to Kansas City. A couple things on this. One, I'll go back to the point about Davante. What did you think was going to happen? All right? You took the huge check. That's fine. You're really well paid. You got a damn Taco Bell commercial. It's not bad. They got one in your house. Everything's fine. Did you think you were going to just go and it was you and Derek Carr lifting Lombardis and just riding off into the parade down the Vegas Strip? Did you really think that? No one else did. We all saw it. When we started this year, did we think that you and Jimmy Garoppolo were going to go and win the West? No. So, you took a ton of money. You moved back. You want to be with your boy. Then they pulled your boy out. Sorry, this is what happens. You went to a team that, in this century, doesn't win a whole lot. You left a team that, in this century, wins a ton. Like, you kind of made your bed, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know if you thought you were going to be a first-team All-Pro every year and win playoff games. It's not really done there. And I know that's disrespectful to the Raiders. I'm just going objectively on the results. So, Davante, like, I'm sure you have a very nice setup and a very nice home and you want to win and everything, but, like, you kind of sold your soul a little bit, all right? If you wanted to go to a winner, there were a lot of teams you could have gone to that were much better suited up to win. The whole thing with you and Derek Carr winning college was so cute and so kind of fake, and everyone here in the media is like, it's great, they went to college together. We think they're going to light the world on. Not really. I hate that this is a thing because Davante Adams, if you're a fan, if you play fantasy, whatever, like, he means something. I think he and Tyreek are the best receivers of this decade. I think the two of those guys, he shouldn't be sitting there throwing his helmet, having one catch for a bad Raiders team. It's like, we should go get him and do something, like SEAL Team 6, like, go extract him from the Raiders, okay? Put him anywhere, but we can't. He signed the contract.
Yesterday on the show, I said A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill are the two best wide receivers in the sport, with Jamar Chase nipping at their heels. No one even thought to mention Davante Adams. And it's
not anymore.
He's still Davante Adams, but the production ain't there.
I think to your point, like, he's not winning, but it's also like I'm not even getting targeted. Yeah. Like, this offense just doesn't make sense to me if I'm a player.
I know.
Peter, the X's and O's of Davante Adams' contract, did he qualify for that yesterday cutoff at 4 p.m. where the Raiders could have made it more friendly for teams to go out and get him?
It's going to be a boatload regardless for the team. He makes crazy money, and it's appropriate. He was the best wide receiver in football coming into that offseason. A team would have to eat a lot of the contract, and there's still years.
Can I throw out one?
Sure. Yeah.
What about after this season? The Jets.
Yeah,
and we get the band back together.
Totally.
Like, did Big Joe Douglas have that kind of thing in him?
Oh, yeah.
I know they gave up a lot to get Rodgers, but, like, if Rodgers is back, let's say he doesn't play this year, whatever, he sits a whole year, and like, you want to get the band back together and say, let's really do this thing? Yeah, I mean, come on. What are we talking about?
He wouldn't be.
I love Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's the big dog right there.
Can you imagine Garrett Wilson and Davante?
Is there any other teams?
Oh,
because I said Niners just because I'm thinking NFC. They wouldn't want. Is there any other teams? The Chiefs would make the most sense.
Yeah, I was
going to
say the Chiefs.
They would never trade with Kansas City. They're in the division. It's like,
because I also thought of the Chargers. That's not going to happen.
Wouldn't do that.
I've seen people throw out the Lions. I've seen being thrown out. Davante Adams is that good that you can just kind of pick him up and be like, all right, he can go on any team.
But a team would have to disrupt their
exactly,
deal.
And that's the tough thing.
Right. The Lions would be interesting, too. The interdivision thing, it does make so much sense because you also said yesterday amongst your ranking of wide receivers that the Chiefs may have diagnosed a wide receiver problem.
Oh, yeah.
So, but in the division, the Lions and the Vikings did it a couple years ago when T.J. Hawkinson went in the division, but I don't think the AFC West is as friendly maybe as the NFC.
Not.